News Talk, 95.1 FM, 790 AM. We are KFYO Mornings. Dave King, Matt Martin here on your radio. Well, as we have been doing all week, and again, we're doing it this morning and tomorrow morning, we have the folks from Covenant Hospital talking about all kinds of things. And this morning we have Chris Lancaster, who's the Vice President of Operations. Good morning, Chris.
Morning. How are you guys?
Doing well.
We're good. It's been very interesting talking about your acquisition of the emergency rooms and kind of explaining what's the difference between those 24-hour on-the-corner emergency rooms and the emergency rooms in the hospitals, and of course lots of other things. But today we're going to talk about billing and insurance. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the fun stuff. We've been able this week, we've had some physicians in talking about some of the different diagnoses that you might see at these different locations. But, as more and more cost is passed along through consumers and different insurance plans, that cost, it does make it help you make a decision sometimes as to where the right place is to go. And so wanted to have a chance to talk a little bit about that. All insurance plans are different. So even if you've got Blue Cross or First Care and someone else, a friend of yours has that, that each agreement is going to be different as to what your out-of-pocket cost may be. And so what easiest thing is that I recommend to folks as they're trying to make these decisions is to look at your insurance card. And your insurance card is going to have different categories on there generally. And so kind of at the top of that, it'll say emergency room. And then it'll have a category that says urgent care or PCP. And so, emergency room obviously is it's at the top, and it's going to be your highest out-of-pocket expense generally. And, not only does that require the most resources for us as providers, but also for your insurance plan. And so it is important to understand that these Covenant Quaker and Covenant Milwaukee locations, those are classified as emergency rooms. And a lot of insurance plans...
Now, is the same as the emergency room at the hospital?
That's correct. Because this is a department of the hospital, has the same really resources and everything, all the requirements.
And I'm not totally clear. Can those emergency rooms handle as severe a case as the hospital emergency room can?
Obviously, we don't have the same, like our Covenant Medical Center, that is a level 2 trauma center. And so there on site, we've got, orthopedic trauma surgeons and interventional radiologists kind of on standby. Now, at the same tone, we can easily transfer you, and we do that on a daily basis from folks that might come into Covenant Quaker in Milwaukee and get you over to the hospital just as quickly. And in that situation, you won't incur another bill from going to this location to that location to be there. And so really we can get you over there just as quick as you might be if you had started at Covenant Medical Center.
And maybe they can stabilize you, if that's the correct term.
That's right. And so that happens on a daily basis, and one of the good things about being in our system is we can really make that pretty seamless. But
so if you're closer to one of the external, what do we call them? The emergency rooms on the corner.
Emergency centers.
If you're closer there, go there. Would that be the advice?
It depends, and as we've talked about this week with the physicians, it is difficult to kind of make that decision based on what's going on. But a lot of times it's peace of mind for you guys. As we talked about yesterday with Dr. Hendershot, these 4 walk-in locations are a great option when it's kind of lower acuity stuff. And on your insurance card, as we're talking about, those walk-in locations are actually classified as PCP. And so for consumers, that's really a lower cost than even an urgent care. And so while it's the same type of convenience in terms of being able to walk in and quick access, it is going to be lower cost. Now, Matt, I know you mentioned yesterday, does that cost go up after 5 in these locations? And I know of some that do. Ours actually don't, so we might want to talk about that more. And so that's not the case. But, time of day can make a difference in terms of you making a decision. I remember I've got a 4-year-old. We were out of town, so this didn't happen here, but he stuck a Lego up his nose. And so why he thought that was a good idea, we can't really understand that.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
It did, to him at least. And so And it wasn't even one of the 2 brick or 3 brick. This was a headlight. And so every time he was crying, this was going further up there. And so we were out of town, and, I knew that was going to be a little bit more expensive for me to maybe go to an freestanding emergency room. But at the same time, would those physicians consider that an emergency walking in with all the things that they see and that they're trained to do and the resources they've got? No. But, did my wife think that was an emergency at the time? Yeah, absolutely. And so we got right in there. It was really quick. And for me, that was peace of mind. And that's, again, one of the benefits sometimes of going to one of these freestanding emergency rooms is just the access and the capability level of physicians that you've got in there to take care of those sorts of things.
So we're talking about cost, and I looked at my insurance card, and just to give you an idea, mine, I think the copay for PCP was about $25. For urgent care, it was $40, $50, and then of course you've got the higher for
Emergency
specialist
room or specialist,
and then it jumps up to $500 for an emergency room, and it's gone up some recently. It's I remember not that long ago it was $200, but anyway, it's $200 to $500. That's a big jump. So if you're going to have an emergency, you're going to see a much larger bill.
Yeah, absolutely. And we even see patients that started our walk-in locations, and then you'll see a physician there, and they might ask you if you need a further workup or you need additional imaging, a CT, then they will send you over to Covenant Quaker in Milwaukee, because it's kind of easier to swim upstream sometimes and start there if it's not life-threatening. And so
well, Chris, we're running up against the clock. Have we about covered everything that we wanted to cover this morning?
Yeah, we have. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, great, and we'll see someone here tomorrow.
That's right.
Who do we expect?
We're probably going to have Walt Cathy, who's our CEO of the Covenant Medical Center.
Great. Okay, you guys have a good day.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more after this.